All right, guys, welcome to another episode of Overshot Paintball Podcast. We have our guest Ross from Regulators. Before we get into Ross and his story and everything that they're doing, definitely check out below Dyzana Sports, sponsor of everybody here in the podcast, makers of the Grind Air gloves, the SF joggers, whole bunch of stuff. If your team needs jerseys or joggers or anything like that. I wear the joggers around my house. I wear the joggers playing. The girls wear the joggers, so everybody's got them. And definitely use our code Overshot for 5% off. Definitely let us know that Tim, we sent you, and then that helps us. We can give it. We're doing a giveaway right now for some Grind Air gloves. So definitely check it out. If gloves aren't your thing, we could definitely send you something else. But without any ado, we got Ross from Regulators, and just kind of kick it off. How did you get started in paintball, Ross? And just take us down that journey, man, and we'll see where it takes us.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, thank you guys for having me on. You guys have some big names up here, so happy to be one of them. Yeah, so I guess like a lot of people, I don't want to say the majority of people who played paintball, I was 10, 11 years old, played at a birthday party in my best friend's backyard and had his uncle out there, his cousins, just kind of set up some, pallets, just kind of nailed them together in between like this little gully and woods on either side. And I think I had like a view loader Velocity, Walmart gun, but it worked. And the first game, so they did the whole captain, pick this guy, pick that guy. And the first game, I wasn't picked first at all. Nobody knew me, so I was picked dead last. And then first game into it, shot 3 people in a 5-on-5 match, and second time repicking teams, I was picked first. So that was kind of a huge bug for me. I had never been picked first in sports ever. So that was a huge moment for me. That kind of put the bug in. So I've just been playing mainly with my brother growing up until I was about 18. We were playing scenario games, just kind of walk-on games down at Outdoor Adventures in Bowie. They had some massive scenario games. They were running them probably every 3 months or so. Battle of the Bulge. I think they had an Invasion of Normandy before it first started, like Black Hawk Down, all these fun stuff. As this kid who wanted to go into the Army and go do stuff is playing scenario games with 300, 400, 500 people, was huge. So then once I got into college, started playing down in North Carolina at High Point University. Started playing with a couple of those guys down there. Again, mainly focused on playing in the woods. And then I think the first day I got invited to play up on their turf field. Again, it was just another bug hit me. I think the week after that, I went and bought my first, tournament gun. It was a Proto Rise rail or something, or Reflex rail. Bought one of those, and didn't have that one for long. I got the whole kind of gun whore mentality where I'm constantly buying something new. So I played with them. Played with a team called Alpha Crew down there. This was down at Paintball Central. This was Rob Staudinger's group of fields from Trauma. So you had Greensboro, Rock Hill, Greenville. So I worked at the Greensboro field, played down there, and shout out to Andrew Gibson. He's an awesome dude. He's still running the park down there. If you get a chance to go see him, he's amazing. He takes care of all the guys down there, and he's really kind of made that North Carolina paintball scene kind of still alive, at least in Greensboro. So played down there, and then ended up kind of taking a little bit of a break after college. Played one tournament with my guys from High Point. We played a throw together tournament in the BPL. Took second place in a 5-man, and then went to go play another tournament. And we didn't realize that it was X-ball format. We had 5 guys, and we're like, "Oh shit, what do we do?" They're like, "Cool, High Point, you're back on the field." And I was like, "This is my first experience playing X-ball." And I was like, "Jesus, it's been 2 minutes. What are we supposed to do?" We did not take second in that event. I just kind of wiped that one out of the memory. Moved to Oregon for a little while. Played at Diamond Hill Paintball, where Corey Field, Seattle Thunder play out of. Played there for a little bit. Got connected with Rocky Newth when he kind of got back into the game from Naughty Dogs. Got his son DJ back into it. Played a tournament or two with them, and then work took me back over here to Virginia, and then started up at Pevs. Kind of just went out there, didn't really know anybody. I mean, I'm sure everyone who's moved to a new field kind of understands the feeling of, I don't have a team out here. I'm just trying to see what I can do. I had no expectations, and then so Mike Slagle, who is Nate's dad, Nate's one of our kind of longest players, kind of started the team. Before I got onto it, they invited me to play a couple points with them. Said, "Hey, we want you on board." I said, "Sure, I got nothing else, and you guys are the only ones that invited me on." I think there was like 3 or 4 other teams out there, and everybody passed me by trying to hop on. I'm like, "Can I do something? Can I play?" And
can I please play?
Exactly. And it's so tough as like a new player or a player without a team going to a new field, nobody else out there. And it's just tough, man. It's so intimidating. I mean, especially for kids that are trying to get into the sport, just saying, to go talk to these dudes that, have all the equipment, have the jerseys with their names on them, they're all matching, and, they're the cool guys, and you're basically trying to get into their club. And it's intimidating, even as an adult trying to go and talk to them.
For sure. They're all yelling, screaming their codes. "Oh, I killed the viper," and then it's shooting the snake one. This kid is like, "What is he talking? A viper? What is it? Is there cobras on the field?"
Yep. Yeah. And you get all that stuff, and it's just, you're like, everything is new. You have no idea how they do things. Like, they're calling out weird calls, like you said, viper. And if you're used to like kill counts as Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and if you've never been exposed to that, you're like, "What are you talking about?" You're like, it's Sunday, man. What are you talking about? Tuesday, Wednesday. So I started playing with them. Played Atlantic City 2017, I believe, was my first event with them. X-Ball, we played D3, and didn't do so hot. Team had some issues.
My one and only NXL ever is Atlantic City.
Okay. Yeah, that's playing on that airfield, man. You take a dive into a chunk of concrete.
Yeah, it was rough.
Especially on that 5-man field. I feel like that was the worst one.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we had one line last year or 2 years ago play the 5-man field over there. Still the same fields, still the same whole setup. They didn't change anything. I think they added more cement. If they took it all from all the other fields and just kind of moved it to the 5-man field, they're like, "It's already some here. Let's just put some more on." So then that was kind of it. I mean, we played a little bit of D4 that in 2018. We played, I think the team played Dallas, Atlantic City, Chicago, and Cup D4. And then we kind of got into the whole, let's bump the D2 thing. And that kind of brings us, I mean, documentary kind of carries us on through today. So that's kind of it.
Yeah, that's awesome that you decided to make that bump, because a lot of player teams, like when they hit that like kind of like peak D4, D3 level, they always like try and see what tournaments they got to miss so they could stay their rank, so they could keep playing this. So it's awesome that you guys were just like, "Fuck it, let's do it. Bang, we're making the jump."
Yeah, it definitely, I mean, we hit on it a little bit in the doc and some of the interviews, and it was not like it made sense, but it was just it was kind of like I said, fuck it, let's do it. Like, what are we doing? Are we just going to keep spending a bunch of money in D4, then to move up to D3? And if we don't win, do we just stay at D3? Do we just keep playing down there? Like, what do we do? But I think everyone on the team kind of has the aspirations of playing at a higher level and wanting to be challenged. And we were just like, let's do it. Let's see what we can do. And you either rise to the challenge, or you peter out, or you figure out what you need to do and go back and hit it again. So yeah, it was interesting. It was interesting.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because you see a lot of teams peter out. Like, you see a couple teams will take a couple losses or have a couple bad tournaments, and then that's really that's all you see from them. So it's awesome that you guys are like, "Nah, man, we're gonna take our lumps and we're gonna keep moving, and we're gonna fucking keep this train fucking going down the tracks, baby."
Yeah, and that was something that like even I didn't really think of when we were kind of going through the season, as kind of like this big thing over there. But I think at the very end of the doc, when Matt's talking in, also big thank you to Matt Dunn, Souls Photography. He was amazing. He put up with a bunch of our shenanigans. There's a whole lot of you can see some of the bloopers in there. There's a whole lot of just stuff that had to get cut because we just were terrible. And he put up with us. I think one day we were recording interviews until like 2 a.m. So yeah, he was awesome for that. But he kind of touched on what do you do if things aren't working? Like people are so quick to just kind of like cut and run and go find someplace where it's easy. And I think that kind of happens. I mean, if you put a team together, fresh line of guys, and things aren't working, people are like, all right, I'll give it the season and I'll see what happens. If it's not working or they don't think it should be where they think they should be, then I think they're like, screw it, I'll go play with somebody else that already has things figured out. I'll just kind of hop in with them and go, and then then you're left with 2 or 3 guys that are wanting to put it out, put the work in and continue, keep going forward. And it's hard to recover.
Yeah, when people start jumping ship, it's hard to recover.
Yeah, it really is.
It's so hard to win in paintball. It really is. Like, it's so hard.
Yeah.
so many things need to go right. So many things need to go right, and if only a couple go wrong, you could get fucked.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I thought, like, making the jump. I mean, we played 5-man tournaments. We played in the EPL. I've played CFOA. 5 Alive up in the West Coast. And 5-man, you really don't have a whole lot of wiggle room. Like you have to have all of your stuff go right. Like if you go down 1 point, like your whole bracket can get effed, and you're just like, cool, we missed it by like 30 seconds. Like that's what it breaks down to. In X-ball, it's like, nah, you usually lose by like maybe a point or 2, but you have the ability to come back from that in a match. Like there's a pretty big margin to kind of have the swing go back and forth. So
like my big push is like I play a bunch of the mechanical stuff, and it's more like race too. And like you're saying, that the games are so important. You only have 8 prelim games, and if you drop 3 of them or 4, that's it. You're done.
Yep.
So I like that though, because it gives more importance to that game. It makes sharpens your decision making almost, because every decision is that much more important.
Yeah, I think so too. And so like a couple of the guys from the D2 line have like been coaching our lower lines, like the D4, D5 lines in those 5-man tournaments. And I mean, you just have to stress basically like you guys have to be 100% going into this tournament, because you don't have that kind of buffer zone to maybe fuck up in a point and then say, all right, we screwed up here, how do we fix this for the rest of the match? It's like, no, you fucked up this 1 point, you have 1 more point to make it to get it back and get to a tiebreaker, and then you have to win that point again. So you really have your margin of error is like there.
Which you got to be good at correcting poor decisions. Like when everyone comes back to the pit, like I'm a firm believer, it's like if you start pointing fingers and cursing and motherfucking this, you're never going to get it figured out. You lose, you got to come back. You got to be like, yo, what happened? What did you, okay, how can we fix this? Boom, 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 move it on. Let's keep it rolling.
Yeah. And that was honestly something that, that our line kind of struggled with for a while. Kind of in the beginning, I think we were kind of getting,
I feel like.
Yeah. And it's so tough, but I mean, like if you get a chance to watch like pro matches, like if you watch, like most of the pro pits, I mean, some of the teams are, they're yelling at each other, but usually they have like one voice that kind of stands out among the rest, and everybody kind of follows. Yeah. So you usually have like one voice that stands out, and everybody kind of follows to it. Everybody might be yelling or being hyped or whatever, but usually one voice stands out and you go.
Right. When that one dude talks, everyone shuts up and listens for a sec.
Exactly. So you still get that single track. All right, everybody can get back on point, and we can go forward. But if you got everybody talking over each other, you don't have someone there to be like, hey, shut the fuck up. Listen to me. This is what we're doing. This is what needs to happen. And somebody to just kind of take ownership of that role of like, cool, I'm going to make this decision. This is what we all agree to. But ultimately, like, comes down to me. All right, I'll take it. And then we'll go forward. Yeah, we struggled with that for a little while. We had some nasty nasty yelling matches in our pits sometimes, but we always try to bring it back down, because as soon as you lose the pits, I mean, you're pretty much just handing the match over to them. So,
and it's so hard because paintball's such a passionate game. It's so hard to let your emotions not get the best of you.
Yeah. Well, you've got this, every time you step out on that box, I mean, like you could have your adrenaline level pretty much going for, elevated pace for most of the match. But as soon as you step on that box and that buzzer goes, I mean, I know personally for me, like my adrenaline goes through the roof. And then you hop off the point, as soon as you get shot, it's like popping a balloon, dude. It's just like, you're done. And then it's like, so, I mean, most sports, I mean, you kind of stay at a constant level, or I think football is a good comparison, where you go to hit your play and it's like, all right, cool. Your play lasts maybe 10, 15 seconds. And then you come back off and you've got 30 seconds, maybe a minute or longer before your next one. You may not even play the next one. So you go off and you get a couple minutes, and you got commercial breaks and all that shit. There it's like, it's a constant up, down, up, down, up, down. And it's tough to kind of flip that switch on and off when you need to be super logical and then super passionate and on it on the field, which I think you find with X-Ball. I think 5-man, it's a little easier. Usually it's like, all right, cool, I can go up, I have a build up for my point, and then you've got 5, 10, 30 minutes even between points that you can kind of cool down. But so it's a different animal, and I mean, you have to appreciate the aspects of both, because I think they're both challenging in their own aspects.
Oh, for sure. But before we get off where can everyone find the documentary if they haven't seen it already?
Yeah, so if you guys haven't seen the documentary, I believe it's posted on PB Nation. Look up Endeavor, a regulator story. Filmed, edited, produced, interviewed, commentary done by Matt Dunn, Souls Photography. Again, I love the dude. Matt's awesome. He's taken videos for us. He just did a highlight video for us, our Chicago 2018, I think one of the last D4 events we played. So he did a highlight video for us there. He's taken photos for us as well. But yeah, his video editing is on point. So it's
we were actually just watching. He came to the Tri-State Expo League, an event I run. So he just dropped some raw footage of the first prelim match, leverage versus Master Blaster. So before this even kicked off. So yeah, Solus was there, and he teamed up with Flockhouse Photos, Rob Moore. So they were out at the event, and I'm sure he's got a lot more coverage coming. I know he goes live on his Twitch and everything like that. So if anybody's bored and wants to watch a dude edit videos, I don't know. I hopped in for a minute or two just to watch it and everything. But yeah, dude, Solus has done good stuff, and he's definitely grown since he originally came. I remember that kid coming out maybe like 6-7 years ago and stuff like that. So I mean, he's definitely. I said it the other day to someone. I was like, "Yo, when did he get like 6,000 followers?" Like, I remember this dude at like 200 followers and stuff like that. So, definitely good to see him. I mean, I watched the documentary. I thought it was really well done. As far as, you got some of that insight, and that's kind of like why we do the podcast is, I like the behind the scenes more than I like, the playing footage. Like, yeah, man, I like a good car crash video, bunkering and stabbing and stuff. But I kind of like, kind of hearing the story. And I think paintball needs more of that. I think, it's the same thing with like my league and stuff like that. Like, I do enjoy, people being nice to each other, but I also enjoy a little bit of confrontation, as long as people aren't getting physical, So, kind of spinning off that, not exactly the same kind of topic or anything like that. So with this whole COVID, NXL season reshuffling and everything like that, are you guys playing events? I know you guys are ranked D2, so it's kind of hard. There's not really anything local you can guys do. I mean, I was talking to people that are high ranked. A lot of them are trying to play the Woods Ball tournament, so they're trying to move stuff around so they could be, the 2 D2 players on a D3 team. So, I mean, what are you guys kind of doing in the downtime and everything like that? Are you guys looking to play anything? Are you looking to go to ICCC? Are you looking to try to play some regional
I wish,
stuff?
man. I wish. I tried to book a slot, and so unfortunately, so with what I do for work, like A lot of times I don't have a phone on me, or I don't have internet access for hours at a time, and I'm like trying to like, you know, set a reminder on, you know, like sticky notes up here, like on the clock, being like, go and register for ICC. And like,
You had to be
apparently
on that shit, man. You had to be on
apparently
that shit.
5 minutes after the deadline or 5 minutes after the start, it's already all booked and paid for. It's like, all right, cool. I'm gonna have to make a bot for next time to just hop in there and just register us. No, so one of our guys is gonna be going up and playing ICC. One of the D2 guys, he'll be up there. The local event series, so like there's NRPL. They have D4 and D5 5-man events. We have a couple, like I said, we have a couple lower lines. So we have a D4 line right now. They actually go under the name Dyzana Factory. Tim, wonderful and amazing, offered to, you know, sponsor them, run them under that name, and said, yep, I want them to, you know, take on that title. So so they're running with that. They actually just placed second in the D4 5-man this past one on June 9th or something. And so actually our guy who was going up to ICC, he was kind of helping coach him that whole time. But yeah, so they're doing that. They're going to be playing the July 12th one as well. I think a couple of the guys want to put in a line for TSXL, since we can put a couple guys in at D2 for a D3 event. So at least a couple of them here and there. So I think we're going to try and do that one as well. I mean, we've got, with COVID, we do have some people that are working in medical field and, you know, high risk all the time of like, I have to be around people to do my job and they're essential. So that kind of sucks in that it has really kind of, it's almost like kneecapped us on being able to like say, hey, you work in the medical field and you're dealing with patients, but you can't come to practice because you're doing all that stuff. So it sucks because I know that they're wanting to come out and practice and we want them to be out, but you know, everybody's we got to be safe and all that stuff. So I get that. But yeah, man, we'd love to go play ICC. I think next year I'm definitely gonna have to make a bot for it. Like I said, maybe I'll sell it for anyone else who wants to buy it. Try and guarantee their slot in there. But yeah, so mainly just trying to practice where we can. Like our home field is out of PEVs. They're just starting to open back up, rolling out basically like time slotted play. But mainly for walk-ons, woods ball field, airsoft. So we'll get back out there eventually. We just did a whole bunch of field maintenance to it, you know, fully clean the field, bunkers, all that stuff. So we've been playing down at SMP, which is Brawl's home field. So playing down there, we've known those guys for a while. Great group of guys. Go up on the field, they're going to put you in the dirt though. For sure, but they'll have a beer with you afterwards. So playing down there and then playing over at NR mainly. So hopefully NXL will come out and say when we're having the next stuff. I don't know. I haven't really been tracking where like if the regional things are going to happen or.
I mean, I got some insight for you. I mean, I heard it's going to be at OXCC September 15th or 20 something around there.
Okay.
Because when I was there for my event, they were definitely saying that. Yeah, they're going to have it. I mean, I heard the entry fee is going to be more than normal, but you know.
But it's NXL. You're going to pay a crap ton of money to go there anyways.
yeah, for sure.
At least at least for anyone that's over here in the region, you know, hopefully most of the teams that are going to be playing it can just drive and save on airfare and everything. So hopefully that'll help cut costs down. But yeah, I get the offset in price. I know that this whole thing fucked up their logistics and everything too. So yeah, I think everybody in paintball is hurting. Just have to get through it.
So, I mean, what's your feeling on that whole regional system or whatever they're trying to do? I mean, do you think it's like just like a stopgate, or I mean, do you think that's something going forward they should do?
I think there could be something there. I don't know. I think there was talk about it before on trying to do regional stuff. Yeah, I don't know. I guess we'll have to kind of see where it goes out. I don't know of any other league that has. I mean, I know other leagues have done regional stuff, but not a like national bracket, at least or national league from what I remember. You guys may know of another example that there, you know, somebody might comment later saying, oh, this one had this league here. And I'd be like, cool. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, not to my knowledge either. I don't think so.
Yeah, I think it's tough though to try and do regional events. I mean, you got to think about if they're going to go and find a venue to set up all of those fields each time. They either have to have a venue that's already capable of doing that, like OXCC, that did used to host, PSP MAO. They had all the availability for all the grass fields, and they just came, set up all the netting. Cool, we're good to go. But I think a lot of the fields are probably not set up for that. Like Pevs has 2 really nice turf fields, and we have an area on the grass where they could put 1 or 2 actually. But like if you go down to anywhere else that has a turf field, it might just be that one turf field. It might just be that. So unless if you're going to do that and maybe have it be an extended event and be like maybe we'll run this for a week, or maybe we'll do it'll span 2 or 3 weekends. But then you got to think of, is that cutting into the business of the field owner? Is that one field the one where they're sustaining their business because that's everyone who comes in at as a walk-on player, and birthday parties and big corporate groups, or anything. So I think that's going to be a fine balance that they're going to have to walk, in making sure that the fields aren't putting themselves out too much, because I mean at the end of the day they've got to still make money to stay in business. So
right, but I think there is a good balance, because I think that I want to see more tournaments at local fields, because I feel like there's a disconnect between the dude playing his birthday party and the dude who plays tournament paintball. So if a guy's coming for someone's birthday and then a couple feet to the right they got whatever, like 4 fields sectioned off in like an X, and there's a tournament going on, and he could see that, and he's like, oh, what is this going on over here? Oh, what? Oh, and then maybe you can grow from that.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great point. And that's honestly one thing too, of like, if you have a field that has a whole lot of walk-ons coming up, if it's not just that one turf field that they're kind of trying to run everybody through.
Right. If they have the space, obviously,
Exactly. So yeah, if they have the space and the capacity to do it, I think that's awesome. More eyes on the sport. I think NXL doing free entry for viewers, I think is awesome. Still paid entry into the grandstands. I think webcasting is cool. I think that's something to where technology is getting at the point where it's super easy to kind of set up. Maybe spend a couple $100, maybe a couple $1,000, and have a really nice broadcasting setup. And you can bring that out and push that out to everybody else. Because I mean, not to be like that dude, but like people in paintball, unless if they have some sort of personal connection to like a pro team, usually don't care about them. Like unless if the people that are playing on them, like I don't really care how X pro team does.
Right.
Unless if my bro is playing on it or something. But if that kid can come out there and see, hey, this is my local pro team, like like I live in the DC area. If I got to go and share ice time with the Capitals, dude, I'd be in fucking heaven. That'd be amazing. Right. If I was, or if I was, still playing Mighty Mites and get to go out there and play with, Ovechkin, or take shots against Holtby. I mean, that would be huge. So I think there can be a lot of merit in that of bringing in like local pro teams and building out kind of like a fan base locally. And I think, and I'll just say this, I mean, and I saw it happen last weekend. This is one of the big things that I try and kind of push on my team. I'm guilty of it myself. But know that we are at PEVs and we have a whole lot of, kids walking by. I was trying to cut down on the language. Be like, hey, stop that. You got parents walking by and they don't want their kids hanging out with some dude who, every third word is, fuck or shit. Like they don't want that. They're like, no, you're not playing with those people.
We're not in the position to be turning down people. We got to be accommodating to everyone.
Yep. And if it makes people think you're soft or whatever because you don't want to curse, whatever. But ultimately,
come see me between the nets, buddy.
yeah. Come on the field and we'll hash it out there, with proper language, of course.
Of course.
But yeah, like you said, I mean, you got to get the kids in there, and I know there's a lot of there's a lot of pro players that are about that. I think most of them, most of the ones that have families, they have kids, and they see, we've got to be accommodating to this because they're the future. Like, I'm not going to be able to be playing, as aggressive as I can be, well into my 40s or 50s. Like, that's not going to happen.
When
some
we take
guys
our shirts
are.
off, we don't look like Ryan Greenspan.
No, not everybody, not everybody can be Ryan Greenspan. So yeah, I mean, they're going to be the ones that are taking it, picking up the mantle and kind of running with it.
No, you're so right. Because if you look at sports like baseball, like that's what people are saying, baseball are dead because the average like viewer age of baseball is something like 45. Like no one young is following it. It's all about the youth.
Yeah, and like if you go, I mean, you see the videos, they try and always push those of like, baseball player gives baseball to, little Jimmy on the sidelines, down at the third baseline. He tosses the ball to him, and it makes his day. Totally makes his day. The kid is overjoyed and just literally in heaven. And then they have the ones of the douchebag dude where he picks it out of the air as he's tossing it to the kid, and it's like, well, that guy's a jerk, but like he doesn't care. He got his baseball.
Right now he gets to go to work on Monday and tell him when he got a baseball.
Exactly. Now that kid's gonna remember. He's gonna be like, wow, that jerk stole that baseball from me. F baseball, I'm out. I don't care. I'm gonna go play paintball.
All right. I hope so.
Man. Hope so.
But one of the other things you were saying that I wanted to talk about too is like I think that like in all like pro shops in any local area there should be posters of all the pros in that area. So when little Timmy comes to buy his whatever invert mini because he's getting into paintball, like okay, so we're from New York. There should be a big poster of Harris Hussein and Pat Kraft and all these guys.
Yep. I don't know about Harris, bro, but
but I mean that's a great idea. I mean, and so we're down at S&P all the time, seeing the Brawl guys, and like they've got Brawl jerseys in there for sale all the time. Like you can go in and be like, cool, I want this Brawl jersey or I want that Brawl jersey, and it's cool. And they've got kids that don't play on any of their divisional lines that are rocking, Brawl jerseys. And any of the guys that some of the guys on there sell them. Jeff always says he's quitting. He's going to sell all this stuff. And people rocking jerseys from their players out there because they get to see them play out there all the time, and like they've seen them come from the divisional level that they were, and now semi-pro. That's kind of what you need more of. You need that. You need to build out that fan base, and teams have to be receptive to it, and they have to be open. Because I mean, like I said, you get some parent that walks by and, this kid's being like, I want to go play with those guys over there. And then this dude yells, XYZ obscenities talking about, anything under the sun that their parents like, nope, cover your ears, earmuffs, walk away. Like they're not going to get to go out and play on the field with them or get to go talk to them. So, I don't think that's the way to, and I thought I hated the hashtag grow the sport because I thought people were just like, grow the sport. But like, you really have to. I think you have to kind of do it, like I said, from the ground up and from the youth to keep it going.
Yeah, we always joke about that too, the hashtag paintball strong and stuff. It's like, but do something about it. Like, that's cool, but do something about it. Like, I could take a picture of my jersey and put hashtag paintball strong too, but like we actually started this podcast and are giving voices to not only pro players, but like I said, Tim and people like you.
Yep.
That's paintball strong.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and like I said, you could post a photo and do that, but like, when was the last time that, one of these pro players went out and played on a walk-on field with the, group of kids, even just talk to them. Like one of our guys, Trey, is super, super into like making sure that he's talking to all the walk-on players. Cause that's how he joined us. So like he was literally, and he hasn't hit it in the documentary, but I've talked to him about this before. He's like, I'm pretty much done. He could go and basically be a pro skateboarder if he wanted to. He's that good at skateboarding.
That's what's up.
So he's like, basically, F it, I'm done with paintball. Like, what am I doing? He's like, I'm just going to go skate and I'm going to put all my time into that. And, I think it was like November or December or something. And we were out there at Pevs and we saw him walking by, like we saw him walking up to the top fields and we're like, hey man, come play with us. I think we were a couple bodies short and we're just like, cool, come on, let's get you on here. Let's run fives, bring a buddy, let's do it. And he was like, yeah, maybe in a little bit. So we like ran some drills, ran some down body stuff. And, he came back and we pulled him on the field and he was hooked. And then he was basically with us ever since. And, but I mean, you need things like that, because if we hadn't have said, hey, come on over here, like just play, like you don't have to have experience, like let's just get on the field and let's just play. He would have probably put his gear in his car, driven home, put it in his closet, and picked up a skateboard and did that full time. And I mean, he still skates regularly, but I mean, he probably would have been like, cool, this is what I'm going to focus on. And Trey's an excellent player. He's been really invaluable to our program, to our growth, building out our divisional line. So, without interactions like that, you never know what you're missing out on.
No, for sure. So like Waldo and I were playing a couple weeks ago, and I don't know if you remember this kid, but he had the Black Violence t-shirt on when we were playing Walkons. Do you remember that kid? He was playing in a t-shirt. It just said violence in white letters. Anyway, 2 weekends in a row now, I've seen the same kid, and he keeps coming back to play with us. And it was just wild because we were like the extra guys. Like Waldo and I went to kind of go play. So we're like, hey, if anyone's ready, come to the start box. There's only 2 of us. And this kid tagged up every time. And then I saw him again the next week. And then this last weekend, we went with like a couple of guys from our team, and they only had walk-ons. So it was to the point where there was like 7 of us on like 18 walk-ons. But the violence kid just kept walking on our side because they're like, okay, well, all the ground zero guys over here. And then we'd walk over there and he'd follow us.
Smart,
Yeah, I was like, yeah, don't worry. Cool. Yeah, dude, you're with us now. Don't worry about it. Come over here. You're on our team now.
Yeah. Well, that's what you need, is you're just building out those relationships. And that's all it takes, is just say, hey, come on, let's play. Like, yeah. And if you're willing to step out there on the box against, down body situation, 7 on like 18.
Yeah.
Sure. I'll step on a box with you any day, dude. Like, let's go.
Yeah, right. 100%. Sorry. Yeah. Shout out. I think the kid's name is Peter. Shout out Peter if you're listening.
Good job, Peter.
Yeah, dude. You should have gave him some merch or something, told him to listen. But no, I mean, I don't remember Peter exactly, but I mean, I've been, especially the past couple, probably, post COVID and a little bit pre COVID. I probably talk about this kid a lot, but definitely looking to kind of get back to some of the younger kids. Starting a paintball camp, which is coming up July 20th to 24th. We're doing a paintball camp. So we got some rental kids signed up, 4 kids with rental guns. I got 2 kids that kind of have their own stuff. So, kind of going back to what you were saying, grow the sport and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's really where it comes down to, not the salty old kids that you've been seeing, for a long time, and shout out to those guys too. Everybody's got to play, but, to grow everything and to make this more legitimate, you're going to need those young kids to kind of take this to the next level. You know what I mean? So kind of, shouting it back to you, Ross, something that I kind of had in mind. I don't know this for sure. I mean, I think I do. I mean, are you like a brand ambassador for Dyzana Sports? Are you the social media guy, or I don't know. I kind of lost connection on what's what, but yeah, I mean, I usually just deal with him, but I usually just deal with the head of every company that I try to deal with. But so what's your role with Dyzana Sports? Tell us, and how that kind of came up.
Yeah, so little bit of backstory on Dyzana. So I was actually up playing Invasion of Normandy up at Skirmish paintball. Yep. That's the hang on, my monitor froze. All right. So Skirmish paintball, Invasion of Normandy. It had been a dream of mine for a long time. I had always seen the videos forever, and I'm like, I got to go play this one day. I was getting married. I was like, that's what I want to do for my bachelor party. I want to go get drunk, play paintball with 4,000 other people in the woods of Pennsylvania, camping out, eating hot dogs, drinking beer. Sounds like a blast. So I went up there. I had kind of just started with Regulators. Like I said, I think I had maybe played one tournament with them, Atlantic City, and we were looking to play Chicago and Cup and all that stuff. And just kind of like walked by their booth. I had never seen the company before. GI had a booth, and Di had a booth. They all have their stuff there. And I'm like, I had seen Dyzana. I was like, and they were kind of on like one of the main thoroughfares, walking out to like one of my entryway points. And I was like, okay, who are these guys? They had their jersey booth. They had like 3 or 4 different jerseys up there. They didn't have pants yet or anything. But I just stopped in, talked to him, and chatted for maybe 5-10 minutes. I was like, cool, I'll stop by. Went out, shot all my paint, did what I could, came back out, grabbed a beer, and went over and talked to him. And I think I must have talked to him for like an hour or two, just talking to him about the team, what my starting paintball and all that stuff. And he's like, cool, take my card, like let's be in touch, because we were looking for jerseys. We had I don't want to badmouth anybody, but we had jerseys before, and we had several month wait to try and get them, and came in an incomplete order, and that was part of that. And I think every company goes through struggles with that, obviously, especially right now with COVID. I mean, it's hit everybody hard. But yeah, so we started to work with them. We had been literally from the first jersey order that we did. I just kind of kept talking to Tim. He's like, hey, do you have any, he kind of shot me a message back. He's like, do you have any revisions that you would make for the jersey? What would you want to see as a player out of this jersey? What are you looking for in a company? Like, what do you think we should be doing that we're not doing, or that you wish companies were doing? And we just kind of started a rapport, and just started chatting back and forth. I'll be talking to him late at night sometimes. He works the dude is a workaholic, honestly. Like he'll be working until like midnight, 1 a.m. and he's still like shooting me over revisions of things. He's like, here, can you look at this? So we just started a rapport. Oil. Exactly. Drinking a whole lot of Monsters. And yeah, so we just kind of continued a relationship. Said, hey, do you want to actually like legitimately sponsor Regulators? He's like, let's do it. So we went forward with that. We've had them since. We've been getting our jerseys and pants from them since, I guess 2018 onwards. So coming on, this is our third year with them, or will be the third year. And so yeah, so I kind of have. I mean, I have business cards. I don't even remember what it says on them. I have business cards with my name, and I have a Dyzana email address. And so yeah, I guess you could say brand ambassador.
Sales rep, or what do you?
Sales rep. Yeah, I mean it's kind of loose. It's not fully defined, because like I don't really get paid for him for what I do with him. So like I had some before, but all that, like I had a code, but it was literally going into like a Regulators fund. So it was all just going right back into my team anyways. So yeah, so I had a code, and I was like, no, let's just switch it to regs, because it's all going towards them anyways. So yeah, sales rep. I don't fully work directly with any teams, but like I try and be as active on social media as possible. Like I'm in a couple of the paintball groups that he's not in, and just try and answer questions, and just try and be an extra point of contact for people to talk to. So if you have any questions about anything, anyone who's watching this, please feel free, hit me up on Facebook, or shoot me an email, ross@dyzanasports.com. I usually check it. I respond pretty quickly. Like I said, I don't have official hours with him, so whenever I see it and I can respond to it, I will. So yeah, I don't know if there's an official title for that, but Daisana Liaison. I don't know. That sounds a little bit more official than what it is, but yeah.
No, I mean, I've known Tim, I don't even know how long, but he's given us everything that I've done. I kind of needed jerseys for my tournament. I was on a Woods Bowl tournament, so we got hooked up with him through the High Rollers, and then he's been helping me out. I mean, I just stopped by his warehouse the other week to get some pop-up tents, for the event for the TSXL. Yeah. So I'm sure if anybody had. I mean, everybody had to stay under a Dyzana pop-up tent, because those were the picks. But shout out to Tim again. We'll plug them later. But if you guys were doing a Grind Air glove giveaway, gloves are not my thing. But for anybody that wears gloves, people have always told me, they're the nicest, the sleekest, and everything like that. And like I said, this dude's always wearing this dude over here always wearing the joggers when he comes over my house and stuff like that. So, I mean, he can brand them up and lease them for any of your teams. So, shout out to Tim. Shout out to Chris. Shout out to his wife. Shout out to his kid and his dog. I met them the other time I was there. So I know he's got his hands full over there. And honestly, I stopped by his warehouse away from New York to New Jersey down to Maryland where the event was. And, He's got a nice setup now. His warehouse is not like, I've been to warehouses before. It's not a warehouse. He's got like a showroom, and then he's got a little spot in the back, but it's definitely nice over there. So yeah, I mean, so you were talking about Invasion of Normandy. Do you play a lot of big games, or is that something every so often you play maybe one or two a year? I mean, I'm sure you played with us at Living Dead, right, man? I think.
Oh yeah.
All right,
yeah. Living Dead was that was fun. Yeah, that was a good time. Yeah, I came up there with probably about 6 or so other regulators, not all like D2. I think we had three other D2 guys up there, and then some of the D4s. Yeah, some of the D4 squad came up there too. They were getting ready for, I think, the EPL tournament that was like that following weekend. So they ran some points up. Yeah, they ran some points up there the day before against High Rollers. Some of their guys up there. I think the Joe Barron from Newbies was up there.
Yeah, he plays with everybody now, bro.
Yeah, everybody.
Yeah, he was playing with High Rollers. He played the TSXL with the High Rollers, and I think his new team's Riot, which is like a bomb squad apocalypse team. But yeah, Joe Barron.
Yep. Yeah, so he was up there, and they had the layout set up for the EPL. So we had to practice the day before. Kind of loose, just getting eyes on the layout and everything. And then Living Dead was fun. Yeah, so like I said, I got my start at Outdoor Adventures, OXCC, when it was there, or Outdoor Adventures Chesapeake City, which is what it was called before.
So you're kind of OG.
I played. I still got one of those bright lime green Outdoor Adventure barrel socks. Like, I cherish that thing. That thing's great. So I played. They used to give out these like little patches for like each of the scenario games that they gave, and I lost count of how many I had. They're like in some drawer or some box somewhere from my parents' house that they shipped over. They're like, here you go. But yeah, like I said, I used to play with my brother a lot. He was kind of the big force. He could drive, and so he drove us over.
He was the car.
He was the car. He was also the money when I didn't have it. So I was like, I shot through all my paint. Well, how'd that happen? I don't know. So that's how I got my start. And then it's just always fun to go back and play with friends. I mean, when you play tournament paintball, it's like clocking in to go to work. That's you're usually out there. You're working towards working on snap shooting or laning drills or figuring out a layout or doing something very specific to progress your game and place better at the next tournament. Like that's what you're out there for. And when you go and you play a big game, like you're just out there to play paintball. Like you're just out there with everybody else that's out there looking to have a good time. Yeah, you can have kind of friendly competition. You can have your little battles and your skirmishes and everything, and you can kind of get what you want out of it, as opposed to like, this is what I'm doing for my team to get to place. Whereas like you've got one goal: finish first, stand on the top of that podium when you play tournament paintball. Right. That's the goal. If it isn't, why are you playing?
Exactly.
if you're out there to go drink beers and have fun, and that's your goal, and everybody's on the level with that, awesome. Go have fun. Like go fucking drink and play a tournament. Like that's awesome. I think one of my guys is going to go do that in a tournament around here soon. He's like, yeah, I'm just going to get some buddies and we're going to go drink and probably place last, but we're going to have a blast doing it. So
as long as everyone's on the same page, man,
exactly. As long as you don't have that one dude there who's like, come on guys, why are we sucking? And everybody's just like sitting there cracking another beer. Like, I don't know, man. I have no idea why. So yeah, it's just fun, man. Like you can hang back, you can dump a bunch of paint, like you can carry 15 pods, you can take out your pump gun, you can break out the old relic PGP pump that you have, like play out there with 8 rounds and a little pistol. Like you can do whatever you want in a scenario game. If you want to take a launcher and go battle tanks, like go do that. That's awesome. So I think that's what I really like about it, and it's good to have that balance, so that way it sounds almost like bad, but like, so that way I remember why I started playing in the first place and like what really got me into the sport, to kind of like keep the passion up. Because there's times like throughout the season, you know, like if you're not doing well or like, you know, have a really shitty practice and like you couldn't figure out anything on this layout. And you're just like, dude, it's just so demoralizing. You know, you have a really shitty tournament. Like, you know, Vegas this year, like it didn't go our way. We didn't make Sunday, and that killed a lot of us. And we're like, dude, I just want to go play Walkons or something. Like, I just want to go play paintball, not have to worry about it. No stress, no expectations, just having fun. So I think everybody needs that, whether they want to admit it or not. Like, you know, you see even pros that are like, you know, I'm going to go out and play mechanical 10-man, where it's like, all right, cool. We're not really like expecting to win, you know, take first. Be like, sure, some of them probably are, and they, you know, they are trying to go and do first. But like, you know, you get people out there that you haven't played with. Exactly.
It's more chill. You know what I mean? You play with your boys or whatever. You know what I mean? I'll say this: I'm probably the most competitive scenario player that there is. I mean, you know, shout out, Tim and Allie from High Rollers kind of like let me be me, and you know what I mean? I kind of got the call when they originally called me. I was like, well, like, do you want me to play or do you want me to like do what I do? Because I'm the dude there with the map, with the army men, with the freaking, I know every single rule. You know what I mean? Because they sent me the rules beforehand, and I was like, there's a loophole here, there's a loophole here, there's a loophole here. You know what I mean? The same thing with anybody would do with an NXL rule book or anything kind of rule book. People will find the loopholes. I'm like, I knew the guy that ran the event, like, Tim was trying to help with kind of organizing, and I know it was going to be a big daunting task because if you haven't run something with all these intricacies, it's kind of a lot to kind of come to a big game and like run a mission or zombies or this, that, and the other thing and the rules. And let's just be honest, dude, 99% of the people, they don't read the rules. They don't know this guy's invincible or this, that. They don't read the rules. So like I tried to help them out that way. But I mean, like I said, I know you guys were playing. I honestly, and I've played big games all over. I played in Indiana, Chicago. You know, I played in Mason and Normandy. The game's good. The paint's not too good. You know, there's other things going on there. But I think The Living Dead, that's my favorite game. I can't wait to go again. I know we had a great crew, man. We had Regulators, we had High Roll, and mostly speedball teams. We had the newbies. Yep. We had Bomb Squad, some Jester kids, and I mean, we obliterated them. I don't, you know what I mean? The score was a little closer than I would have liked because, you know, shout out to Tim, he did his best, but you know, Tim didn't know the rules. I mean, he did, but it's hard for someone that's, you know, and Tim's maybe played a little bit of tournament. You know, and then he jumped into running a company. So he hadn't really been playing. And then even if he played a scenario, he told on ours, he was like, yeah, I mean, I played a scenario as in like I worked at OTP and I'd go out for an hour or two before they would catch me playing. And then I'd have to go back and work the pro shop. So like, I mean, listen, man, he didn't know, but I mean, I thought, I can't wait, dude. Like I said, I had the newbies ref my event and they were all about, they're like, dude, we can't wait to go again. That was like the most fun. And going back to what you're saying is like when you're so competitive for such a while, you know, and it's like I think Manny Marshall even said, he's like, yo, man, sometimes driving 3-4 hours to practice and playing in the cold rain ain't fun, but that's what you got to do. You know what I mean? Yep. Mm-hmm. So, you know, just echoing what off you said is just like sometimes you just need that break. And Travis, I'm always doing it the wrong way. I don't even know anymore. I think I should do it. Everything's backwards. But I mean, I've taken Travis was a scenario, dude. You know, full out, dyed in with the box magazine, with the tactical vest and everything like that. And I'm like, listen, dude, like, that stuff's cool, man. But like, you're actually pretty good, dude. So like, let's try to play some tournaments. And now, you know, he's playing, you know, Woods Ball tournaments with some OG legends. But you know, Travis played Living Dead too. I mean, We were definitely
Hella
outnumbered, but we made it work. So just so anybody knows, we were like, I don't know, 80 players outnumbered, but we won the game, so it doesn't matter. And, we all had a great time.
Doesn't matter.
We won.
Right.
We're victorious. So hopefully, do you guys plan on coming back to Living Dead or?
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I'm not gonna miss Living Dead again. Because there's Pickle Moonshine up there, which I can't get anywhere else, so I have to come up there to get Pickle Moonshine. But yeah, I mean, so one of the things about Scenario 2 is that like you said, newbies were out there, we were out there, high rollers. There's all these people that when you're playing a tournament, you're playing against them. Like you're so competitive against this other team that you're like your only interactions may be the time at the tournament,
right?
And seeing each other, in between points and
and you might be scouting them and shit. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
You don't want to be nice to them either. If they ask you for an Allen key, you're like,
I'll be like,
kind of loses point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That you pull out the old. My gun doesn't use Allen keys. Sorry, it doesn't work. So yeah, but you get to play. That was the first time I ever got to be on the same side as newbies players. We matched up with them in our 2018 season in D4 2-3 different times, and traveling across the country, and it's like, all right, cool, we're just gonna go play newbies again. And yeah, we kind of had got into it a couple different times, and they'd beat us, we'd beat them, and it it was cool to actually get to play and be on the same side as these guys that I've just matched up on the other end of a field with them all last year, and thinking I hate these guys. They hate us. We hate them. And it's like, no, they're a bunch of cool dudes. And you go out there and you see one guy hiding behind a tree. He's like, fuck, I can't move. I'm like, I matched up in the Doritos against that dude, and he definitely shot me in the face. And now he's hiding behind this tree. I'm like, cool, we're on the same level out here. I'm hiding in a ditch. This is cool. So I think that's another aspect too, that you get to play with people that you don't normally get to play with, and almost forced not to play with them. So that's a cool part of it too.
Yeah, man. So as far as that's going and everything like that, so so you plan on playing Living Dead? Do you plan on going to Ion again, or actually it was just canceled, so
yeah,
scratch
it'd
that.
Nice.
You can't go to Ion. If anybody is trying to go to Ion, you cannot go. So don't call them; they'll call you about your reservation.
Yeah, I would have liked to go back to Ion. I've only been once, and that was the time with my bachelor party, and I haven't had a chance to go back up there. But yeah, I'll definitely make the drive for Living Dead again any time. So yeah, that one's definitely on the list.
We'll definitely be there.
Awesome. Sure. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Hopefully, I'm gonna have to coordinate and get everybody on the same team again, because
I think it's going again. I think Tim's now more behind the scenes, but Allie's going to be the general, and I don't think they picked another general, but that's what I know. As far as some insider information, I know they haven't picked the other general. I know Allie's going to be the general, so we're gonna play. Just do it again. We're the Savages or whatever, so. Anybody that was a savage, I know I talked to the newbies. Yo, I don't got that one. I just got Dyzana Sports. You know what I mean? When I picked out my shirt, I wanted to be able to go like this and have the logo.
Yeah, this one's a little tiny right down there at the bottom. Yeah, a little tiny, but
plug it. Tim, make the logo bigger, buddy. But we love you. But
I feel like I slept now. I got to do laundry. All my stuff is in the wash. Damn,
dude, man. You gotta represent.
Adulting. Sorry, I gotta do laundry. Get off me.
I mean, dude, you know what I mean? I got it ready. Grind Air gloves. Do the giveaway. It's on there. There you go. Microfiber. We'll give that out eventually.
Yep.
Pink for the ladies, but
yeah, the gloves. I remember. So actually, the gloves were actually one of those things that Tim and I were talking to. I was like, hey man, I had never really been a glove person, but I played golf in high school. I was one of those kids, and I was like, I really love the super lightweight, thin leather, golf glove. I was like, they're perfect. You almost don't even realize you have them on. And I was like, I want a glove like that for paintball. And
So it was your idea, you're saying?
I'm not saying it was fully my idea, but like I threw it out into the Dyzana ether, and it materialized and happened. But no, I mean, like that's one of the things that I love about Tim and Dyzana is that, like, you can throw an idea out there and it could be totally off the wall, be like, I want to make, basketballs or something. He's like, I don't know how that relates to paintball, but let's do it.
Right.
So he's all into it, and he wants to do things to the best that he can and produce good products for people that they can use in the sport and just absolutely beat the crap and still have them come out of the wash looking fine. So and it's a constant pursuit. I mean, it really is. I mean, nothing that comes out first run is going to be perfect. But I mean, that's the hope, right? Everyone hopes that they knock it out of the park every single time. And unfortunately that just doesn't happen.
Yeah, that's not reality, unfortunately.
Yeah. But I can say the gloves, definitely huge hit. I was really happy when those came out. Because I wasn't a glove guy myself either. And I put those on and I was like, all right, this is exactly what I wanted. So yeah.
Maybe I gotta I'll do another try, man. I mean,
try them out.
Not those ones. Those ones are for the people, man. But maybe I don't know. I've never been.
Because most people want those, like one of our guys tried the Gorilla Grip gloves.
Dude, those are like what
those are pretty nice.
Love the Gorilla Grip.
Yep.
Is your gun stick to your hand?
It didn't, but like they were nice and they were cheap too. It's like, you buy a 5-pack for, $10 or something. It's like, cool. Well, they're not going to last more than a day or two. And like you throw them in the wash once and like they come out in tatters. But I mean, they were good. And that was kind of like the idea is, super thin, like, because even if you get gloves, I mean, like, we play paintball, we're going to get shot. We're going to get bruised. You're going to get marks that are going to be left with you for the rest of your life. Like, it just happens. Like I got one like on the back of my neck that's like embedded in some hair that like, there's just a little bald spot that like some kid hit me from like 3 inches. I like happened to like duck out of my bunker and this kid's holding the lane. I'm just like, chink, right in the back of the head. And I was like, yep, that's going to be there forever. But I mean, you just need something that, I mean, if you're playing in the mud, wet, rainy, whatever, you just gotta, or you're super sweaty, it's hot out. Like you just need a little bit of extra traction. So that's why I picked them back up, because they're really nice. So
sorry, Ross, I got to pee real bad.
pleasure.
Well, they'll take over.
Yep.
I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, no problem, dude. You shouldn't have had that coffee or whatever. So kind of going back to, it seems like I didn't know, and without doing this, we really wouldn't know. Is so you kind of been bouncing around. I think you said you were in Washington. Corey Fields' field, down at Rob Steininger's field, and one of my good buddies, James Butts, he used to play on CEP. He kind of came out of that trauma gridlock camp. So, he's PBC Greensboro and stuff like that. So I actually got the opportunity to play with him, and he got the opportunity to originally got the opportunity to play with us. I used to be part of Master Blasters. Team's been around since the dawn of paintball. We played a Woods Bowl tournament. He played with us and stuff like that. So any of those guys, like, your big paintball mentors, are like is like trauma your team? I know you kind of said something about, I don't know if that was you speaking, but as far as like paintball pros, you're not, or I mean, are you big into the pro scene? Do you, I mean, because me technically, like I so, like I said, sometimes I care, but I mean, I follow it, but I mean, if Ryan Greenspan or Ronnie Deason or Joe Barrett or Justin, and shout out to all those guys for coming on the podcast. We appreciate it very much. But to me, it's not the same as like, I don't know, Derek Jeter walking in, or, Tino Martinez or Bernie Williams or Tiki Barber or something like that coming in. So, I mean, one, are you a big pro guy? Do you get, starstruck? And who is your team? Are you like a Trauma fan, or are you a Seattle Thunder fan from, your escapades all across? Because, I mean, it seems like you've moved a lot.
Yeah, I've moved. I mean, I haven't played all over. I did get to play a tournament down in Southern California, down at Camp Pendleton. I think that's the only time I played in California. That turf there is rough. Like it is like diving on cement. So I'm I'm okay with not going back there again, unless if it's raining, which I know it really doesn't do that a lot in California. But yeah, man, I think you have to have people that you look up to, for sure. I mean, like when I was playing golf, I was like, cool, I want to be like Tiger Woods. Like I want to be like him. One of the greatest players ever. Cool. I started to play tournament paintball. I didn't really have like this, I never really had anybody's like poster on my wall or something. I think everybody was always a big fan of Ollie Lang, and when paintball was on ESPN and stuff, like you see him, he's the one that's like making a move down the center of the field, or he's the one that's like on his feet playing outside of bunkers and stuff, and just kind of doing the things that nobody else was doing yet, or nobody else really thought to do. And so I think being able to kind of like identify and see the characteristics that you like in certain people, like that you want to try and emulate. I think trying to emulate one person entirely and be like, I want to be exactly like Tiger Woods, or I want to be exactly like Ollie Lang or Greenspan or A-Rod or whoever, I think kind of limits your capacity. Because I mean, honestly, you want to take what they've done and you want to emulate that and bring that into your style. Like if you always tried to play exactly like somebody else. Like I think when I was playing in Oregon with Rocky, I think he, the one thing he told me, he's like, he said, be like a Rainey Stanzak. He's like, watch how he plays the game, watch how he plays, plays his position, and try and emulate that. I was like, okay, cool. And that kind of gave me a different way to think about it, instead of just being like, just do what he does. It's like, no, take what he's doing, look at how he plays, figure out how you can add that to your play style and your game, and elevate, just take that next step up. Like, what are they doing that I'm not doing? Like, are they, do they have better pod management? Do they always leave their pods on the outside? Now I'm going to push this in. Like there was one dude, and even just from not pro players, but just other players on the field. Like if you're not taking little things that everyone else is doing, and seeing how you can apply that to yourself. Like we were watching in Cup at Cup, we were watching, we were already done. We were watching a match from PB Fit, and we'd played against them before. But like their dude that plays home, like we were watching, like he had awesome pod management. It was just something that I never really thought of, playing as the home. I'm like, all right, cool. I'm just going to like, obviously I'm going to reach for pods back there and I'm going to try and take from the farthest out. But it's like, he even went to the point where, he's sitting there and he's holding it. And he's keeping a super low profile on the right side, just shooting the lane on the Doritos. And, even he gets a break and he's not just leaving those pods that he wasn't grabbing on his right side. He was grabbing them and moving them over closer into the center. So it's like he's doing something. He's got pod management to where he's even moving pods around as he's got them. I'm like, oh, that's really smart. I was like, if you have the time to do that, cool, let's do that. So I think picking up those little things is great.
Dude, I never thought of that. I never thought of that.
I didn't either. But like I didn't get that from watching the pros. I got that from watching somebody else in divisionals, and just trying to pick up all the little things that they do, because people are, if they're good, they're doing the same exact thing that you should be doing in watching other people and adding it into their game. What can I do that's better? And as I've kind of been running regulators and kind of coaching lower lines and having to get people that haven't played tournaments at all, teaching is a huge thing that makes you think about your game in a totally different way. It's something that, when you have to rationalize and kind of walk people through why what you're doing is the right way, it can sometimes lead you to think, oh crap, I'm not doing that the right way. There's a better way for me to be doing this. And there's actually been times, and I probably wouldn't admit it to anybody on the team to their face, but like, there's been times I'll be telling them something, and as I'm talking about it, I'm thinking, I was like, shit, what I'm telling them isn't right. It's not making sense. And then I'll pause for a couple seconds, think about it, and be like, okay, actually, this is what you need to be doing in this situation, and then give them that advice. So like, it helps my game out, it helps their game out. But as far as idols go, I mean, like, obviously you watch pro paintball. Different places gave me different perspectives. I mean, like, people talk about West Coast paintball is different than East Coast paintball, and Northeast is different than Southeast, and different than Texas, and all that stuff. And there really is. But I think it's less of play styles and more how they approach the game, like their attitude that they have going into it. Because ultimately, pretty much everyone is going to be snap shooting the same way. If somebody's doing something totally different, it's either going to work and everybody's going to adopt it, or it doesn't work and nobody picks it up. But yeah, Corey Field, I'll shoot him. He's another one. I'll shoot him messages super late at night. Like, I helped him out at DHP for a little bit. Like, I moved out to Oregon with my fiance at the time. She was going out to grad school, and I didn't have a job. I went out there. I was like, I'm going to go play paintball, de-stress a little bit, because applying to 30, 40, 50 jobs in a day isn't fun.
Yeah.
So went out there. Like the first weekend I went out, Corey was like, yeah, hop on, let's get on the field. And then Audrey Whidden, she's out there. She doesn't get a lot of attention, but it's her field. She's the one that owns it. She's awesome. Audrey's great. So haven't talked to her in a while. Hope she's doing great. But yeah, she was like, hey, Rocky Newth is here. And at the time, I honestly didn't know, the name didn't ring a bell to me. I was like, okay, cool. Rocky, all right. I had met Rocky Cagnoni from Die, like down at Greensboro. I was like, I had met him down at Greensboro. I was like, oh shit, what's he doing out here? I thought immediately that's him. I was like, cool. Yeah, so I went over there and he's like, cool, hop on, like let's go. And like it was his first weekend out, so I just happened to have great timing. And yeah, and then I played a couple practices with them, and they're like, let's play a 5-man. Awesome. Played 5-man D4 in the 5 Alive. We took first. So I was like, awesome, this is pretty cool. But it was cool to kind of, talk with him, learn from him too, especially, I mean, he's got a whole lot of knowledge in the sport. I mean, he's been in the sport for a long time. Not saying that he's old, but like he's been involved. He's been involved with it for a long time, and just to kind of just listen, because there's so much that people that have been around the sport, and especially if you really love it, you just want to listen. And yeah, so he was great. I got to play with him for a while, and then work took me back over here to Virginia. Yeah, I never really got to play with like any of the trauma guys down in Greensboro. A couple of them, like, again, getting to talk to Rob Staudinger, Jay Witt, Dave Faison, Tyler Humphreys, getting to talk to those guys, and kind of, get a little bit of insight into what the sport used to be, that like, I'm never going to have that on what the sport used to be. I'm in what the sport is now. Was kind of cool. I mean, it's the history of the thing that you love, from the people that lived it. It's like somebody in the military getting to talk to, World War II vet or something. That's, you can't replace that, or you can't substitute that for something else. Watching a war movie is totally different than like talking to the dude that starred in the movie. So yeah, so that's kind of my take on it. I think I probably rambled a lot. My team will probably give me shit later. They're gonna be like, there he is, just talking a whole bunch. So a bad habit of that.
Dude, that's what this is. It's a platform for people to talk and talk about what they love, and as far as, and just tell stories, man, because that's what it's all about, is telling stories. And hopefully somebody gets something out of it. I've gotten something out of it. You get something out of it, and you know what I mean. You never know what's going to strike a chord with people. So as far as your teammates, if they want to jump on or say something, there's always stuff to be said. There's probably 100 stories we haven't told. And going back to like you said, that's also why we got to get some of these old guys on, the Rob Stodingers, the Tyler Humphreys, the Lucien Blackburns, and I'm just saying trauma names because I don't know why. All of a sudden, you know what I mean? I'm thinking of like, I don't know if it was Push or it was one of those old movies, and they're talking, there was like 30 dudes in one house and they all lived there, and then they won the NXL, against like Russian Legion back in the day. But I don't know, dude. I think Tyler Humphreys, that's dudes. I don't know, the one video where he's like aloha or whatever, dude. Man, funny.
Oh,
So
man.
we'll definitely have that him on.
Yeah.
So we're kind of, a couple things, rattle through here. I know we're coming up on an hour 30. It's kind of where we usually like to keep it because, people will tune in and out. But, I said you do a lot of coaching and stuff like that. What's like one piece of advice? And, you're playing D2 and stuff like that. I know you jump from D4 to D2, but there's a lot anybody can learn from anybody. What would be like, a piece of advice that you would even give, like, a younger player, a D5 player, a new player, or anything like that, something that, kind of you see that's overlooked or they don't think of or anything like that, like just a piece of advice. And I'm sure there's a million pieces of advice you could give anybody, but what's like one thing that a little nugget of wisdom that you could kind of leave them with?
Yeah. And I'll try and condense it down. I actually had a dude, we were playing NRPL. Never met the dude. He saw the documentary. He's like, he called me over by name. He's like, "Hey Ross, what's going on?" I was like, "Hey dude, I have no idea who you are, but like, let's talk." And he asked me, a couple things about it. He's like, how was talking, how was A-Rod as a coach and all that stuff. And I could share A-Rod's wealth for forever. Like the dude is incredible on what he knows about the sport and just everything to take away from him. And I could just totally repeat everything that he said, and it would be like I could take credit for it, but I won't do that for A-Rod because he taught us a lot. But one of the biggest, and I think I'll narrow it down to two things. So one of the things that I got from A-Rod and Rusty as well. We had Rusty Glaze out there. One of the times he came out with helped us out with coaching and stuff, and just kind of how to approach the game, which also is super invaluable. I mean, just getting players' insight is cool, but getting a coach's insight is, like I said, it's really invaluable, and just to be a sponge. But I think the biggest thing for anyone is that one of the things that I love about the sport, and it's one of the things that I think a lot of people either overlook or kind of don't really think about it as being something that's really cool, is that everybody's out there and has something that is an equalizer, the paintball gun. Like you could have, I've seen a dude literally make a run to the 50 wall with one leg, like straight up prosthetic leg on the other. And it took him 25-30 seconds to get there, but that dude made it clean. And so, but he's got a paintball gun. He's shooting the whole way up. So you never really, like, I think there's this whole like kind of, this kind of dichotomy of like, divisional players and pro players and new players and, veteran players. And, everyone has the same opportunity to beat the other people that they're playing. Like when you step on the field and you step on that box and just before the buzzer or, someone calls go happens, you have every opportunity and the same ability, maybe not in the same way. Like one person may shoot ropes for days and just carry 15 pods and that's what they do. But they do it well and that's how they win. Or you could be the dude that shoots one pod in a game, sprints down to the field, down to the snake, and then crawls up to the S1 on their side and then shoots everybody in the back. There's so many different ways to play the game, and it really does give you a lot of accessibility to just about anyone. I mean, you could be, there's this dude, Chris Alnazer, quadriplegic. He's out there starting on the box and just goes to the home and he's like, cool, I'm just going to get up there and shoot ropes. Like I've been shot by him before. And so anyone out there can shoot anyone else. And it's something that like, you don't get that in football. Like if you have one injury in like high school or something, your career's done. Like you don't have that in, baseball. You don't have, I mean, sure, sometimes in baseball you could be designated hitter or, I'm only going to pitch or something, but like you still always have some caveats that you have to do it, and you have to meet some certain level of physical ability. Right. But you have the equal. I like to think about things, and it's kind of like in trust for me. So like anytime I meet somebody, everybody starts at zero. You can go up or down. So when you start out there on the field, you both have a 50-50 chance of winning. And everything that you do on the field, every little decision that you make, every bump that you take away from your, from one place to another, every lane that you shoot, every look that you take down the field to try and scan for bodies, every call that you make, all of those raise your percentage up or down a little bit based on what you do. So everybody has an equal opportunity to start out. It's just what you do during the game that determines how you're going to win. Because ultimately, like, paintball is a game of inches and milliseconds, and it's all of these little decisions that add up to how you win. So I just say, boiling that down, it doesn't matter who's standing on the other end of the box or other end of the field. You've got just as much opportunity. They could be pro, they could be ex pro, they could be another D5 team. You know, I've been shot by like little kids out in walk-on games before. They're like going to play from the turf and going and playing walk-ons. I'm like, cool, I just got shot in the face by a 12-year-old. But that kid just had just as much opportunity to shoot me as I did him. And it worked out in their favor. So I say just always remember that. Just don't be afraid who you're going up against, because you have just as much of an opportunity to beat them.
Awesome, man. So shout out your sponsors, anybody that supports you, your teammates, or anybody that you want to give love to and everything like that.
Yep. Yeah. So definitely I'll start with sponsors first. First and foremost, obviously, I know we said them a bunch. Tim, Dyzana, again, his wife, son, all of them. They're great. They've been with us for almost the whole time. Pev's Paintball, Todd Pev. We work with him a lot. He's done a lot for us out there. He puts up with our shit all the time, making sure that we're always taken care of. Carbon Paintball, we've been with them for I think 2 years now. They've been with us. Walker from them, he's awesome. Solus, again, Matt Dunn, he's awesome too. Jonathan Grego, he's been taking photos from us too. Grego's a good dude. He's been taking photos for us. Gosh, I'm trying to think else. Oh, we just started to work with Powerhouse Regulators. So we just started work with them. I just popped 2 ones onto my tanks, and I love them. They're amazing. So we just signed with them, got custom engraved ones. They're pretty cool. It's kind of funny. It's Powerhouse Regulators and it says Regulators on them. I'm like, well, that's cool, redundant, but like it makes sense. And then Virtue as well. We use them for loaders. Like Spires, everyone on there chooses them by choice, and we're like, it's just a natural progression for us to go. And then thank you to Brawl as well. I'll say them, Brawl and SMP. Tom Sellers down there is always a gracious host. And then NR as well for hosting us as well. Gosh, I should have had a list prepared. Teammates, obviously, all my guys on D2. We're losing a couple guys due to work life situations. We're going to be losing Ryan here. Ryan, love you, brother. He's going off on a different duty assignment, and we're going to hopefully see him again in a year. But so Ryan, thank you. Sammy, who joined us this year, he's going to be leaving as well. Nate and Mike, you didn't get enough love in the documentary, but Mike Sligel, he was a huge part of our team. He's Nate's dad. Always been at like all of our practices, videoing, making sure we had footage, bringing waters. He even had like a grill the one time and cooked out for us. And like, he's just an incredible dude. And yeah, he didn't get enough love in the documentary. But know that we all love you. Corbin does all of our social media stuff. So he's on there. He's on IG, Facebook, all that stuff. And then a kind of shout out to our Daisana factory team. They're a D4. They're kind of rising up. And then all of our incoming D5 guys. Appreciate everything that they do, putting up with our shit and growing pains and all that stuff. And if I forgot anybody, I'm really sorry. Like I said, I should add a list. But yeah,
anyone come on, take 2. You know,
I will. There you go. There you go. Yeah. You know, anyone I forgot, thank you.
Perfect, guys. So again, that's Ross from Regulators. You can hit him up for anything with Dyzana or anything like that. But again, you know, DyzanaSports.com/overshot for 5% off. Tell them we sent them. Send a message to Ross, send a message to Tim, send a message to anybody. They'll take care of you. And always remember, we want to subscribe, rate, review. We appreciate all our listeners. Check us out on Apple Podcast, Spotify, YouTube. If we're not on it and you're listening to it, then let us know. We'll be on it. We're going to be on YouTube. And
we will be for now. Peace.
Thanks, guys.